Hi guys. So sorry about that. Right when my husband was about to go out the door, he got a phone call. He was about to go out onto his bike ride. So, anyway, how are you guys doing today? If you're new here, my name is Debbie. I am with Debbie J's Crafting Corner, and I want to go ahead and say hi to my buds that I see are already on here. So Miss TR was on here right at 5:30, or at least she said hi right then. And then we've also got Miss Cordelia. So thank you guys for dropping in. This is the first week that you guys get to choose what it is that we're gonna be making. So I need to think I might be on the wrong page. Okay, so first off, I want to show you what it is that we're going to be making today. And this one was one that you guys voted on using the link that is also down in the description box of this video. So I'm leaving this, I'm going to be using the same link, but I'm going to be updating the Pinterest inspiration page so that you guys can go check that out over there. I think the link to the inspiration page is down in the description. I basically did a copy and paste, so I'll have to double check that unless one of you guys want to look and let me know. I also want to say hello to Miss Elizabeth, so thank you for dropping in. And the one that won for this week's inspiration is, let's see if I can get it to come up, is this one. This is a card that was created by Miss Kristina Werner, and it uses an ink technique. So I'm going to do a little bit of ink smooshing on there. I did go ahead and cut a few different watercolor panels because I figure I'll go ahead and use watercolor for this. I'm also assuming I've got everything at my desk. Today has been a little bit crazy. And I do want to apologize to you guys for not having been here last week. Last week, my husband had a work trip that he told me about on, I think it was Thursday, where he was going out of state. And he wanted to know if I wanted to, actually I knew about the trip before, but it turned out that he decided he didn't want to fly, and the person that was supposed to be going up with him, his work colleague, wasn't going to be going. So he figured, why not take me, since I've basically been nowhere in at least a year and a half. So that's why I wasn't around. On Tuesday, we were actually driving 12 hours. But I think this is one of my favorites out of the ones I picked. I did pick out different things to put on the inspiration board that I thought were just gorgeous cards. And if you'd like to have someone, if you'd like to have a card added to the inspiration board, be sure to just shoot me a message as to, with a link to it so I know what it is that you'd like to add. But this is the card that we're going to be making today. So I've got my silicone mat, so I can use that. I could also use my glass mat here, which is not as clean as I'd like because I've been kind of rushing since we got home on Sunday. And of course I've got a little piece of packaging. Let me make this picture a little smaller so you can see better. So this is just a piece of packaging that I figured I would use for ink smooshing. I don't usually do it that way, but I thought I'd give it a try. I think it might actually give a more controlled look like what Miss Kristina Werner did on her card. Now I did not go back and watch her video on that. I just haven't had the time. And of course, until today, I didn't know if anything else was going to beat that one out on the votes. So I've grabbed my distress inks. I figure we'll use some of those. And I've got some watercolor paper. And I've got my distress sprayer for some water, along with some stamps and such too. The stamp set that I decided to use, if I can remember what I did with it, because I just had it a second ago. You guys know me. I would lose my head if it wasn't screwed on tight. So this is the stamp set that I decided I wanted to use. This one is Crafty Friend from Simon Says Stamp, and I don't get to use this often enough. And since I'm going to be sending this card to someone out there, this would be perfect because you guys would appreciate it because it is for craftiness. Anyway, it's actually not, this isn't a complicated technique, so I may do more than one. And You guys know what the rules were for the giveaway. Let me go ahead and discuss that real quick. You needed to have voted on the original video, and that would have been my last week's Tuesday video that basically announced that we were going to be doing this. So you would have needed to comment voted on the video. You needed to have actually voted using the form. And then you needed to have shown up here for the live stream. So I see the folks that are here, and you need to make sure you comment. If you're here and you have not commented and you want to get in on the giveaway, be sure to say something over in the comments so that we know that you're here. So she used rainbow colors, and I love that. So I think I'm going to kind of do the same kind of thing. Let's see. I'm going to try to keep everything in frame. This is the first time that I've had a photo, a reference photo, actually on the screen. So we will see how that does and whether or not I like doing it. I'm going to move this over a little bit. That actually works better. So here are the colors that I've got. So she used some yellow, red, purple, green. I think she just basically used primary colors and mixed everything together. So that's what I'm going to grab anyway. And with a reference, you don't have to use the same thing. You could do it any which way you want to, but I kind of want to stick with kind of what she's doing as the first one anyway. So those are the primaries-ish. Fire brick is a bit bright. Got this one for a purple, and I think I'll use mowed lawn because that's a nice bright green. So I'm just going to be smooshing some of that onto this piece of packaging. And you don't want to have the colors close together that would cause it to turn into mud, unless you want brown on your excuse me, on your project. So I've got red, yellow, and blue. I'll put the green over here between the blue and the yellow because blue and yellow make green. Do the same thing with the purple. It's going to go in between the red. Looks like I need some more of this. This one is Seedless Preserves, and I think I have a re-inker, so I need to leave this out on my desk and re-ink that thing. I think I'm also going to grab an orange, just so we're kind of rounding it out, getting those basics. Okay. And then you just spray this down. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to base, this is some watercolor paper. It's just some Bristol, I think. Okay, just putting that down in there. And so that does look kind of neat. But I'm going to try to dip it in to get some more color down in the middle. And that's kind of a pretty panel. And I think I want it to be a bit brighter though, so I'm going to leave that one to the side so it can dry a little. And go ahead and wipe this up, and I'll go ahead and do another panel. I mean, you guys know me, I can't just do one, right? And this time I want to put all the colors a bit closer together. So hello, Miss Carmen. Happy to see you, hon. And I'm just putting some ink down onto a little on a piece of packaging. And although I haven't done ink smooshing like this before, I figured I would do it this time. Okay, OCD me means I need to have everything where it's supposed to be. There we go. Now they are in RGB order. I'm just spritzing it with a little bit of water and then grabbing a watercolor panel. And you could use regular paper, but it's not going to absorb the color as well. And it would probably warp more. Now that I didn't, because the colors didn't really mix that much. Except Oh, that would be part of it. I didn't put any water down by the red and the blue. So this is, I'm going to have to go back and see exactly what she did on there. I'm not sure. I mean, maybe she didn't use as much water, but her picture, it shows that the colors stayed a lot more vibrant. But this will still be cute when I get done. So I've got a couple of panels that are a little bit bigger. Go ahead and put some more ink down. I think I'm going to just do the primaries this time and see how that turns out. So we've got some red. I'm using Fired Brick. For the blue, I'm using Mermaid Lagoon. Just love that color. And then I'm using Mustard Seed for the yellow. I found that that's kind of it's got a little bit orangish. And TR's got a good idea. I think I'm going to try it that way next. This panel is a bit bigger, so that's also going to be a factor in it. So I'm going to go basically down into one of the corners and see how that does. I'm also trying to do the textured side into the ink instead of the... Oh, that kind of looks neat. I do have some of my colors going together, so that's nice. Do have a little bit of brown forming at the bottom. But I do kind of like this one too, but it does need a little bit more color. Now this one's not quite dry, but it looks pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and just do like a second layer, just in with the primaries. And I have to make sure that I do them in the right direction. I almost did them backwards. I'm not putting that much water down this time. So my yellow's there, so I want to kind of do it in that order. And that does put a bit more boldness on there, but I think I do want it to be a little bit more mixed in. Okay, I'm going to cheat. That's still going to look kind of cool. It's like, you know how sometimes you either get not enough, it's not as colorful enough as you'd like, or it's a little bit too much. So now we've got some blue again. I'm going to go ahead and put extra on this one. So blue and red, and then some yellow. I don't know about you guys, but my biggest problem when it comes to doing stuff with the panels that I make, okay, I'm going to do that. Decided to do a little squiggle through there and see how that looks. My biggest problem is that with most of the panels, because I'm always making cards and I'm going from scratch, I have so many panels I have not used. I did get a few done recently, but that wasn't really a lot. Okay, I'm starting to think that maybe the second go round might not be a good idea. I really like the way that this one did, except I'd rather it be a little bit more, have a little more color to it. So I'm going to try it something different. I'm going to do kind of what TR mentioned and go one at a time. But I'm going to go ahead and pick up the color and try just applying it in the general area that I want it to go. And see how that does. Oh, I think I like that. Cornelia says it's not cheating, it's adapting. There are so many different things in with crafting that I think of as cheating that I don't do because I think of them as cheating. Like I don't do as much die cutting as I'd like. I'm working on changing that. I've got some things coming up that I think are going to be awesome. But I don't do as much as I would like with that because it's like it's just cutting something out and putting it down on a piece of paper. It's not painting and it's not coloring. But I also don't have time to do all of the different techniques that I want to try because they're all so cool. Okay, let's put this over here. I think this one's going to be my favorite. Oh my goodness. Other than the little pieces of brown that I don't want, I'm just mopping those up with a paper towel. This one I do like the most so far. So let's see if we can kind of sort of duplicate what I just did there. Now I can either do the underpainting like I did the first time with that, or I can just go straight to paper. Let's see. And I just noticed I've got a cat hair on here. Okay, got that thing off. So I think I'm going to put the, now I see another one. I'm going to put the blue, I think, on the, I'm going to start with it and going to put it on a different part of the panel. And I think I want a little bit more. Okay. That looks cool. Like that. Then I think I'm going to put in some red and some purple at the same time because they will go well with the blue. Only problem with the fired brick is it does have a little bit of a brownish tint to it. So it could kind of sort of mess up a little bit of the color, but I don't think it'll mess up by much. I'm liking it. And then I'm going to put some yellow and some orange. Elizabeth, you are so right. Oh my goodness. I don't do a lot of scene cards, mostly because I've got this thing in my head about they need to be somewhat realistic if I'm drawing or anything. Using stamps makes it so much easier because you just follow the design. But you are so right. That would make an awesome sky. Let's see. Put the yellow up at that end and the orange down here. That is pretty, but I think I want some more purple. Which means wiping away that yellow. And I think I want it to be a little bit bluer. And you can also mix your own colors, so that's kind of cool too. The downside to using a silicone mat like this is that my plastic keeps on wanting to hold on to it. These are turning out nice. Okay. So I think what I'm going to do next is just hit these with my heat tool and try to heat them up just a bit, and then we can try to dry them a little bit more. So I haven't decided. I may do some heat embossing on these. And that's probably going to be the hardest part. Because since they're wet-ish, that means that they're probably not gonna, they're gonna attract that embossing powder, and you don't want the embossing powder to stick where you didn't stamp. So, since I didn't see you guys last week, what did you guys do? How was your week? I mean, I know we had a holiday there, and we didn't do anything but stay at home. But Well, that's because we had to get ready and pack to lay him down the next day. But how was your Memorial Day? I love how these panels turned out. They are super awesome. I do think that this is going to take some more practice, and I think that better watercolor paper would probably have given me better results too. But like I said, this is some cheap-ish watercolor paper that I got at Michael's a while back, or I may have bought it on Amazon. I'm not positive. But because I'm not a watercolor artist and I haven't done a lot with it, I haven't really been willing to spend a lot of money on things. Especially if I don't know if I'm going to use it. This was actually the last sheet in a pack that I probably purchased about a year and a half ago. So that tells you how much watercoloring I do, and you guys have had me doing more watercoloring than I have done in I don't know how long. So Cordelia had her son come down. That is awesome. I love that people are starting to get to see each other. And Elizabeth had no fun because she had to clean. That was my, we drove back on Saturday. That was my Sunday. I basically vacuumed the entire house and then dusted a ton because, of course, I'm allergic to dust. And that wasn't my plan for the day. My plan changed as soon as my husband said that a friend of his from college was going to be dropping by because he was in town from California. And we're in Florida. And I think it's been more than 10 years since the last time that I saw him. I think I've only met him once. I think that was the last, when we were in San Diego the last time. Okay. Ooh, you had smoke. Yeah, we tried something in the smoker we have never done before. We'd done pork butt before. I see that Cordelia was saying that they did the smokers. But we did pork butt on Sunday. But instead of doing, well, what we normally do is we thaw it out, and it's had plenty of time, like days to do it, and then we put it in the smoker. This time we put it in there frozen for a couple of hours before putting any of the stuff on it, because we didn't have time to thaw it out because we were driving instead of being here. I mean, we didn't get into town until 8:30, and then we had to drop off the car after unpacking it and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so these panels are pretty dry. I think that's pretty much as good as I'm going to be able to get them with the heat gun. Have to remember to leave that one out. It needs to be re-inked. That one goes with my reds and yellows. Okay, so next I'm going to get out my, if I can do it, I'm going to get out my stamp platform because I always want to make sure that I do a good stamping. Yeah, I know that. Yes, you are absolutely right, Elizabeth. It has been a big party pooper. One thing we noticed on our trip is that a lot of people are now going into this. A lot of the stores said that you didn't have to wear a mask. Most of them said that you didn't need to wear a mask unless you didn't have to wear a mask if you'd been vaccinated. So if you're vaccinated, a lot of them will let you go in. And we went to Virginia. So that's just where we saw those signs. I mean, here in Florida, I'm not sure what's going to happen. I do know that our sales tax folks have decided to do a tax holiday next month on attractions, basically. They want people to go out and about, which is kind of cool. So I think what I'm going to do on here is, I like this guy. And this is very sticky because I've had it for a while and I think I've used it twice. And I think I want to do the thanks. And you make everything colorful. Since this is a real colorful And I'm debating on whether or not I want it to be landscape, or I think I want it to be landscape. That looks kind of cool. I'm going to try using my magnets. My magnets don't always want to work with this. I mean, they work, but I don't always have enough room to be able to do what I'm trying to do. For whatever reason, the platform doesn't always go down flat like what I want. Okay, and this is right at 5.5 inches. So I need to move this in so I've got a little bit of room to be able to trim if I choose to. So I usually like to trim off a little bit. And this one is, that is funny. These are stuck together, which is nice. It means that the thanks will be straight, right? But I don't know if I want them to be that close together. Okay, that one can go there. I do have it on clear. And I'm hoping that this mat will help with getting it stamped well. This thing is warped enough, it does not want to stay down. Maybe the other side is stickier. I have not restuck my sticky mats in a bit, so hopefully this will work. Which is another reason why I always make multiples. Okay, so that looks like it should be okay. Let me get that back in there straight. And if we weren't live, you wouldn't have to see me fussing with all of this. Okay, you guys probably remember that I've had some issues with using the clear embossing ink, so I'm going to use instead, I think I'm going to use the Hero Hues white pigment ink on there instead. I should be able to see it over the color, which will be good, which means I'll be able to tell whether or not the whether or not I've gotten a good stamping or not before I do the white embossing powder. Well, I'm hoping that it starts getting a lot better soon. I mean, given my reasons for not being out and about haven't been the same as everybody else. I wasn't doing it much before COVID hit. Goodness, I don't know why I am coughing so much tonight. I am so sorry, guys. Okay, so now we've got that stamped down. And I can see it, but I think I need it to be a little more solid so it can try to hold on to that embossing powder. That's a little better. And I knew there was something I hadn't done yet. I hadn't pulled out my heat gun yet. Okay. So hopefully that will be sufficient. Okay, so I'm using the Recollections that I always use because I've got it. And that's something else I tell you guys a lot, and that is use what you have. I mean, once I use it up, I can switch over to something else, but I mean, look at this. I've had this for what, 3 years, and I still haven't used it all up. I can say that this is sticking very well to that pigment ink, so that is a plus for me. Let me heat this up a little bit. Yeah, Unicorn White used to be real juicy for me, and it's not as much as it was, but that's probably because I've used it too much. Probably need to replace it or get a re-inker. I think I may add some more color to this because over here on this edge where there's so much white, I really can't see the words that much. So I think this end needs a little bit more green. So that is an easy fix. I'm assuming, I don't think it'll give me any kind of problem over the embossing, and it looks like I probably burned off a little bit of the embossing on the edge. So here's some of that green I was using earlier. And I'm going to place that basically over the word colorful. So now you can see the word colorful better. I like the way that turned out. So I know I'm no Kristina Werner, but I like the way it turned out anyway. And I'm just wiping off some of the excess that's over that, and that panel looks good. So I think I'm going to do another one. And you basically do the exact same thing. This one though, and I am going to rearrange those stamps a little bit. This one though, I think I'm going to do it as a vertical. And I'm going to wipe off some of that ink. That was not wanting to come off. I do kind of like the way that I had it set up on the first card. That looked kind of neat. And I think I've got all of these positioned on the colored parts better. And I think I've got something stuck. Yep. I had a piece of paper towel stuck on the T, so that one would not have stamped well at all. There we go. Carmen, you were a sweetheart. Thank you so much. Do another layer of the ink. And that looks pretty good. There's some pieces over here that it never ever ever stamps well, like right in this first area. Always have to do multiple layers, but that's why we have a stamp platform, right? Okay, that looks pretty good. Okay, I can't leave it alone. I need a little bit more. Okay, so now we're going to put some embossing powder on this one and hope it only sticks where I need it to, because guess what I forgot to do? I forgot to do this time. At least I've got one good panel, right? Okay, luckily it looks like it's only sticking to where I had the ink, so that is a big plus. And I'm trying to remember to put the lid on so I don't spill it like I did a couple of weeks ago. Okay, let's heat this one up and see how it turns out. Oh, I like how that turned out. That is pretty. Cordelia said she does that all the time. So I think you're talking about spilling your ink. I mean, your embossing powder. Yeah, I do that a little too much. Okay, so for this one, you just see how that's going to work. Okay, that I think will look good. Now, this panel is bigger than needed, so I'll be able to basically stamp here and have a little bit of white space on the side and cut it down. It'll be perfect. Now, in case you're wondering what these are, this is just basically a paperweight that I made 2 or 3 years ago out of resin and a Michael's cupcake mold, I think it was. It's like every holiday, right after the holiday's over, they would have a sale on all of their candy and cupcake molds. So I was picking them up because I was playing with resin. And since I've got felt on the back, it works pretty nice for a DIY Chucky. Because I'm one of those people, after I make something, even if it's not the best, I can't get rid of it. Oh my goodness, Cordelia, I did it again. I didn't use my embossing bag again. I just saw your note up there. It's like, yeah, I got distracted because I was chatting with you guys. Usually when I'm crafting, if I'm not videoing, I don't say anything. My husband's over in his little world, either doing some work, because this is basically his office now. Okay, that looks pretty good. The A isn't quite covered. Let me get a little bit more ink. But he's working in here, and he doesn't want me to have a craft room separate. He wants me to be right here because he figures he would never see me if I wasn't in the same room. So he's either in here doing that, he's on Facebook in one of the plant forums, or he's outside planting things. Because he got really into palms and cycads and that sort of thing, and agaves and cacti. Yes, we're in Florida and we have cactus. And whenever anything happens on one of the plants, he has to say, "Oh, you have to come see this," which makes sense. Okay, that one has not been embossed. It's like it's shiny, so it looked for a minute there like I had already had embossing powder on it. Okay. Okay, this one does have some places that have got powder where I don't want it. And I think the reason the other ones I didn't really see it is because, well, it doesn't really matter as much because we've got so much white space. But still, you know? We know better than that. So Elizabeth just bought some resin. This is another one that I made. This one is, well, it's a heart, and it was around Valentine's Day. I also did, I made a couple of tumblers. My favorite tumbler is the Stephen King's It. It's got Pennywise the Clown on there, you know, just the face, and it's a white glitter tumbler. And then it's got You'll Float Too on the other side, and that is my favorite. And I've got the makings to be able to make more tumblers, and I stay in this part of my craft room. If I'm going to do resin, I go in the dining room, but I do all of my cards and stuff in here. So Elizabeth, what shape mold did you do to make your Chucky? Because I'd love to see what you're going to do with that. I mean, the idea that I had was using resin in a couple of the Dollar Tree Dollar Tree candle jar lids. This looks pretty. But unfortunately, the first one that I made didn't do what I wanted it to do. I do still need to try it again, and I think I figured out what went wrong, so at least I know what to do next time. Okay, so we got one more. And then I can start putting these on some card bases. So for this one, I'm thinking this one needs some more color. What do you guys think? I'm thinking maybe some more red. Clowns, Cordelia. Clowns. So it's basically the same face, and I've got it a little larger on a tumbler. Okay, so I want a little bit more of the red, I think. And a little more of the orange. So I'm getting out those colors. Oh, that would be so cool, Elizabeth. You have to make that and then show us. So while I'm adding a little bit more color to this one, I do want to remind you guys about some of the changes that we're making. I know that you guys probably already know. One of them is you guys get to pick the project, which I thought would be fun and get you guys more involved with what's going on over here. And the other one is that I'm going to be having guest creators. And the reason I didn't do that this week is I still need to finish up doing all of the prep work and seeing exactly how to do it. I don't think it's going to be difficult, but I have not had time to even look into it. I did that video for you guys last Monday, right before we left town. Okay, let's see how this does. That definitely added some more color. Well, that would be cool. Miss Elizabeth said that she's thinking of making doing a video and adding DIY flowers to it. So that would be cool. So now I've got enough color on here that I think it's going to look pretty good. Don't know what direction I want the colors to go, but that's okay. I think, Cordelia, I believe both of them have already signed up to make that request. So, anybody else who's interested in being a guest maker on my channel, on our live streams, there is a link down in the description box for you to sign up. And then next week, I'm going to have the first person. I'm going to go ahead and just pick somebody, do a random number picker or something like that, to just pick somebody, and we'll do it that way, and then we'll have somebody else the next time. I don't know if I'll do it every week, but I figure I should be able to do at least a couple of months, but it really depends on how many people sign up. I really would love for you guys to come on here with me and give me somebody else to chat with. Instead of you guys having to listen to just me, you could listen to somebody else chat. And you guys know I very rarely show my face on these things, so that means that whoever comes on with me doesn't have to show their face either. I mean, we may change how we do it. I love the way that Nancy's got everything set up on her channel, but I really don't know how. I have not looked into the logistics yet on a lot of that. I do have StreamYard. I do have, I can't even remember what the name of the thing is now. I've got a couple of different options to use, and I may try a couple of different things, and we'll just see what works best. So do I want it this way? I think I do want it with the red up in the air. And we're going to basically just do the same thing again, just adding some ink down. So Cordelia, that basically means that if you've got a way to do a webcam, or your phone as a webcam, something like that, then you could be one of my guest people too. So keep that in mind. I would love to have as many of you guys come on here as possible. I'd love to see what you create. I mean, you guys already know that from over in the Crafting with Debbie group. I love seeing what you guys make. So even if you don't have a YouTube channel, as long as you've got a camera and some way to be able to hook up to the software, then that would be perfect. And Cordelia, I did it again. I could go back and go ahead and use it, but I don't want to mess up the stamping I've already done. I'm too used to using WOW embossing powder. Most of the embossing powders that I have are WOW, and I'm trying to use up this white embossing powder, which is one reason why I use it as often as I do. Because like I said, I've had it a couple of years. Oh, awesome, Miss Elizabeth. Thank you so much, honey. I really appreciate that. Zoom, that was the name I was trying to remember. I do have a Zoom account. It's like one of the free ones, but even with that, you can have a guest on there without having to pay extra for it. And if this goes well, I probably will upgrade at some point. But at this point, I haven't had any reason to have the upgraded plan. The only time we ever do anything with Zoom is if we want to do a Zoom call with my in-laws. And then I basically have to keep it down to, I think it's 40 minutes, because my husband will be on it on his phone so he can go and show him all the plants outside. But even with that, you just start it over. That's it. So Elizabeth says she's going through Jurassic Quest. So is that a theme park or something? Or am I not getting it? I haven't heard of that. And I love how these cards are turning out, and they are so easy. And they're quick. We all love to color, but you know something? Coloring is probably the one thing that takes the most amount of time. Yeah, I've used FaceTime once. Elizabeth said that she likes using FaceTime. The problem is my husband, I'm not sure exactly what you want to call this, but he refuses to put Facebook on his phone. So because he doesn't have Facebook on his phone, he's not going to be able to do a FaceTime thing. Or I think you're actually talking about something else, but he hasn't tried any of those because the only people really that he talks to are me, or his parents, or it's a work call. Those are the only times that he's actually on the phone. And for me, it's even less than that. The only times that I'm on the phone is with his parents, when I need to call him for something, and I don't even call him much. Then again, we are home all the time, and my last job job was a phone rep, so that could be part of it. Okay, so let me get a couple of card bases ready. Now these are all going to be regular A2 size cards. I want this out of the way. It's making this stick. Okay, so regular heavyweight cardstock. This is Recollections cardstock. I am switching over to Accent Opaque. It seems pretty nice, but I still have this one pack of the Michaels brand. I've got 4 panels, so I need 4 card bases. I'm just cutting them down to 5.5. Actually, yeah, I'm gonna do 5.5. Oh, that is cool, Elizabeth. And now I need my scoreboard, which of course is on the floor behind me. So today I've been working on a video that is going to be going up on Saturday. If you guys didn't do the first round or didn't check out the first round of videos, we're doing another Scrap Hoarders series. Scrap Hoarders, we did that last June, and that was basically where we had 3 weeks of hops showing different ways that you can use your scraps. So we're doing another one of those this week. We did one in June, we did another series in December, so it was a Christmassy one, and then we've got the one that we're doing right now, which is going to be birthday theme. So be sure to check that out. Also, if you want to see any of the older videos, the ones that we did before, we're using the same hashtag for this round as we did the others, and that's hashtag Scrap Hoarders. But I've been working on a video with that, and then of course, I wound up with video issues, so now I've got to re-record parts of it. So that's been my day. Okay. But I will get back on track soon, I'm sure. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to cut these down a little smaller than A2. And then I'm going to pop them up on some foam tape. That's going to help with this warping, because you guys can see that they are pretty well warped. And this needs to be, since I'm doing vertical on this one needs to be, actually this one's wide enough. it could be either way. I can either have it as a vertical A2 card or as a horizontal, depending on how much color I want to keep. I think I want to keep the color though. So I'm going to cut down to 4.5 on this side. I'll trim a little bit down off of the bottom, mostly so that I can make sure I've got everything straight. And I can already tell that my stamping is slightly crooked. Yeah, my stamping is slightly crooked, so I'm going to try to fix that. And what I'm doing is I've got this line here should be straight across. So I'm going to line it up with the 1 3/4 marks and that the same line on this side and see if I can get it to basically straighten out. Then when I go to cut this next side, it should be pretty much straight. And because I don't know how much I'm going to cut off, because I've got to recut that edge, I'm just going to trim a little off of each end. So I can get this side done again. So it wasn't off by much. It was just off by this little sliver, but still it's a little bit too much. Okay, so that is pretty good. I think I'm going to cut a little bit more off of the bottom because this side needs to be 5.5, which is to here. So I'm going to cut a little bit more off of the bottom and on the top on this side, and then this side needs to be, actually it needs to be at 5, not 5.5. This needs to be down to 3 3/4. Can't cut that far because that'll cut the T off. So I'll cut this side to 4. And then this side, I can cut it down to 5. So I'm basically making it 1/4 inch smaller on all 4 sides. And luckily I did position the Thanks in Colorful right about right. So this is basically what it's going to look like. Okay, so this one is going to be a horizontal card, so it's going to need to be 5.5. Or rather, it's going to be about 5. But I think I want to do the same thing I did on that last one, make sure that I've got that straight. And it looks like this one's actually straight, which is good. Just trim a little bit off the bottom just to be on the safe side. And then this one, I'll cut this one down, it's about down to 5, and then cut a little bit more off of the bottom. So that one will be basically like that. So these are turning out so nice. I'm happy. So again, checking the stamping, which is definitely off. And I'm lining the top of this ribbon here with the 1 3/4 mark on both parts, just because that happens to be closest and I can see it. So thank you so much. I see that actually I haven't gone, I need to go back and look at the chat real quick because a bunch of people stopped in and I've been talking and cutting and didn't see it. So sorry about that. Not afraid of color. I think you told me your name about a week or so ago and now I forgot. I'm so sorry. We've got Jean Morin and Karen Baker. Thank you guys for dropping in. We just did some ink smooshing and it was super easy and you guys can definitely do this too. So just check out the video from the beginning. So again, hello Jean and hello Not Afraid of Color. And just scrolling, and again, hello, Miss Karen Baker. So thank you guys for dropping in. So what I'm doing at this point is I'm just trimming these panels down that I created down to about 3 3/4 by 5.5. So it's basically going to be about a 1/2 inch smaller than Tracy. That's right. Thank you. but it's going to be basically about a 1/2 inch smaller than A2 size, so it's going to have a 1/4 inch of white space all the way around. So going ahead and cutting this one down. This side needs to be cut down. I can cut it down to the 4-inch mark because I don't want to cut off the T. I'll cut this part down so it's about 5, and all I'm cutting off now is just a little bit of white space. And then this side I will cut down to the 3 3/4. And now we've got another lovely card panel there. And for those of you guys that have just popped in, I want to let you know kind of what we're doing now. This is the first week that I've had you guys vote for which project you want me to work on. So last week I was out of town because my husband had a work thing, and he asked me to go with him because, like you guys, we haven't actually left the house in like forever. So this one's going to be the 3 3/4. So I thought it would be fun to do basically an inspiration board. Now this is because I saw a video where a couple of people did a live. It was this woman and her sister, and off the top of my head I can't remember their names, so I am so sorry about that. So this one is actually, I cut this one smaller than I was supposed to. Oops. So easy fix. This one's just going to have more white space around it. So that's going to look cute. We went up to Virginia. The reason for it is problems. My husband designs speakers and that sort of thing, and the manufacturers really messed up on a recent project. So he basically had to go up there so that he could quality check the newest batch. It's where supposedly they did one batch out, and then the second batch was supposed to fix the errors, fix the problems that they had with the first one. And so he had to go up there and check them, and actually it wound up actually being worse than the first time around. So he wasn't happy pretty much the whole time because it was just ridiculous. So he's still got to deal with that, and we're probably going to need to go back. He'll probably need to go back up, he said, in August, but I'll probably go with him just because. And besides, we haven't really been able to go anywhere. So it was rainy and dreary weather, although it was hot. So I pretty much just stayed in the hotel room and got to practice some coloring. I took my colored pencils because I never use them, and I'm trying to get better at doing the layering thing with colored pencils because, like I said, I never use them. Okay, so this is what I'm looking for. So what I'm going to do now on these is I'm going to pop them up on some foam tape. Okay, Elizabeth, that is too cool. She just said that she added, I'm posting this up in there, she added so much to Pinterest after voting. I hadn't been on Pinterest in a long time. Good resource for ideas. Absolutely. So the whole thing around you guys picking what you want me to work on as the inspiration, because you can see the picture up there. My cards, because I did more than one, are not the same as what Miss Kristina Werner did up there. They're similar, and it's basically where she gave me the inspiration. Now, I loved that envelope thing that she has, you know, the envelope stamp and the white heat embossing, and it was just adorable. But my first thought when I saw that was my crafty stamps, and I know I've got some more somewhere, and I have no idea where they are. So I had a hard time finding them. So Gene, I live down in Florida, so we had a 12-hour drive up to Virginia. And all day long, every day, he was basically in the warehouse checking these manufactured units for any kind of defects, and then they've got to deal with it now that he's back. So at some point, probably in the next week or so, he's going to have a late night call with China, because that's where they were assembled, which everything is basically assembled in China for most products. It's not anything new. Anyway, I had seen a video where a couple of ladies, a woman and her sister, they were doing a live, and they had an inspiration board. So I did take that idea, and together they would use that inspiration. They would use whatever it was that folks voted on to do their live stream. And I thought, that is an awesome idea. And at some point, I think I am going to go back and thank them. I'll have to find the video and thank them for the idea if it's something that you guys like, and invite them to come and hang out with us too if they'd like. It may have been a Facebook Live. I don't remember off the top of my head. Okay, so those two have got the foam tape. So I thought that would be cool. And then I also thought, what if, besides doing that, first off, somebody who has voted, I basically am going to be giving away the project that I made today. I don't know if I'm going to give away all 4 cards, but I'm going to give away at least one of them. So someone's going to be winning that. And it's going to be to someone who, number one, voted for one of the projects. It doesn't matter if it was the one we picked or not, but you needed to have voted. You needed to have commented on the original video, meaning last week's live stream that wasn't a live stream. It was just that 3-minute intro to this thing, which is that the live stream is changing. So you need to have commented the word voted on that video. So that means for next week you would comment on this video, not in the chat but in the actual comments. So you'll need to come back on after you vote, and then you would need to have shown up for the live stream and said hello. So you need to have actually participated somewhere in the chat. And I figured this is a good way for you guys to get to know each other better, because I love the way that you guys are all chatting, and I can see each week how you guys are getting to know each other better and better, and not just on my live. Many of you have decided to join the Facebook group, so you're involved in the swaps that we're doing over on Crafting with Debbie. Y'all are sharing your different projects with each other, and I absolutely love all that interaction. So that's kind of how that one's going to work. In this description box, there are a couple of links. Those are to basically some forms that I created over in ClickUp, which means when you fill out the form, it will give you it will send the information to my ClickUp, so I'll be able to see what's going on and be able to pick a project. And this week, the project that got the most votes was this picture from Kristina Werner. So that's the reason that we are making these. So long explanation, but at least I was able to keep on crafting without really messing anything up. Unlike when I was talking before and kept forgetting to put on my, kept forgetting to use my anti-static tool. So we wanted to go this way, which means the fold needs to be on this side. And yes, I have put things on upside down before. And I'm going to center that. And it's a little bit off, which means I do have to use my Art Glitter Glue liquid glue adhesive to make sure I can get this stuff straight. Okay, second try. Well, Jean, you can definitely vote for next week. The second part that we're going to be doing is I'm also going to be having guest crafters on the channel. So if you'd like to be a guest crafter, then go ahead and sign up for that too. There is a second survey link down in the description below for that. I'm pretty sure that I've got the Pinterest inspiration board linked down below as well. If I don't, I will definitely be adding that shortly. My glue needs to be refilled, but I will be adding that one shortly. If not, I do know that it is also on last week's video. It is the one for Tuesday of last week. So you can always find it over there. Also, if you go to my Pinterest page, which I know we've got links down below that will take you over to that too. I think it's in my link bio. But if you want to go and check out that, I've got other Pinterest boards and stuff up as well. But that's the newest one. But I just want you guys to be more involved, and I love that you guys hang out with me each week. And I'm just taking off all of the release paper so I can add these panels to my card base. And in case you didn't guess, which I know that you probably did, is you can just add a little liquid adhesive, and that gives you just a touch of wiggle room. Otherwise, the foam tape, it grabs immediately and you can't really move it without ripping your paper. I've tried, and I've had a couple of times where I had limited results, but usually my paper rips if I try to move it after. Okay, I say that one is close enough. Okay, I'm looking back up at the chat, and there was an issue, and okay, I'm not sure what it was that someone said. I'm looking back at this again. This is great after work relaxation time. Yay, great. What was this about the reverse mute? So Tracy, I'm looking at your comment. Something about, or did an at Elizabeth Costa Rogers reverse mute. I don't know what that meant. And I couldn't find the comment that mentions that. And you can see how sticky this is. It's sticking to my nails. It doesn't want to let go. Okay, and by the way, one of the reasons that I decided to do as many panels, besides the fact that I had the ink out and I wanted to keep on trying, is that if I had just done one, it would not have lasted the entire time that we were going to be here. So you guys would have been gone a long time ago. But now I've got 4 pretty cards to send out to somebody. And I think I need some gems on that. What do you guys think? We need some crystals, right? And I think I'm going to use this batch, because this batch has got all the different colors, and I think that'll go well with this. I mean, I do have some pastels. Everyone in chat yelling at her, she muted everything but the heat tool. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and grab out some of these pretty crystals. And I have to say, one of the things that I don't like about this is the sizes. I love these teeny tiny ones, but not all of them have that. I do have that other batch of the silver that has got the teeny tiny ones, but the pink doesn't have the tiny, the green, the only ones that are really, these are the 3 that have got the tiny. Luckily, those are a couple of the colors that I like. So we've got a navy and we've got a teal. Let me grab some of the teal. And that'll go good with this blue. I think I want at least a couple of the pink in there. I'll use some of the small-ish ones of that. And then I think I want to go with these dark green. That'll be pretty. Wait. TR says she can't find her box of bling. Okay, I went to Hobby Lobby and specifically picked up this box because TR told me that she had it. Now, I've got a couple other boxes. I've got this one, and then I've got this one, and then, let's see, where did I put that other one? Is that it? Anyway, I've got another one that is like gold and silver baubles, which I just bought this little container thing at Michael's. I think it was at Michael's. It was on sale. So I've got my silver and gold baubles, some in here, because what I want to do is I want to reduce it down so I just have this at my desk, and those can basically be in a cabinet away from my desk, but I haven't made the time to do it. And I use the silver more often than anything else, but I decided I wanted to do some more colors with my bling. And just in general, I don't really like the ones with the adhesive on the back, although I've got a bunch of those kind of in storage somewhere too, and I need to use them up. I mean, how many of you guys buy something or are given something and you think it's so cool, and then you don't use it? So it just sits. And then your husband's like, why do you need more stuff? It's like, because I need more stuff. That's just the way it is, you know? That's like me asking him, why do we need more plants? Because when he was working down at the other office, it was basically across town, he would come home most days with more plants. Okay, so Tracy, are you talking about like eyeglasses or drinking glasses or sunglasses? And I haven't decided really on how I want to place these, so I'm just putting these wherever I think it might look nice. And I want you to be able to see them, so that's one reason where I'm kind of putting them not on the same color. Although this green one's going to go, I'm going to put a teal one there, I think. And then I will put another green over here. So that kind of looks like a little stream of them. So there's kind of a flow across. That looks okay. Not real sure if I like the way that the gems are laid out, but this one, I think I'm going to put the gems up here. And I am doing those little groups of 3, but you don't do them everywhere, you know? And now I'm starting to think that I don't really like the pink that much. I really like this teal color, to be honest. Which means that's the one that I'm going to use up the first. Okay, Elizabeth, you are so right. She just said, don't remind me. Buy stuff and don't use it all the time, but I really want to. Well, I think you guys understand that that is part of the reason that I've been saying all this last year. I think it's been about a year. I think I may have actually started doing this more so around the time that we started doing Scrap Hoarders last year, because I really think I need to use up all my stuff. I've got too much. I think I've shown on at least 1 or 2 videos my wall of scrapbook paper, and how often do you see me actually use scrapbook paper on a card? And I don't scrapbook, I make cards. But I've got a ton of it, and most of it is because Michael's would have really cool, they would have sales on some gorgeous paper, and you get like 3, buy 1, get 2 free or something. So Karen says, you don't know me very well, Debbie. And Elizabeth, been talking on the phone, then want to look something up on the internet, so wound up walking around talking, looking for my phone. Oh my God, yes, that's happened to me too. I now have a Google Nest So if I can't remember where I put my phone, I basically ask it to find my phone for me. And then what's so funny is it's almost always on my desk. And the reason that it's always lost on my desk is it's black, and my desk is like a dark wood color, so it's almost black. So I always lose it on my desk. So yeah, the little bit of bling I think does help. So those are kind of cute. And one more to go. So just one more shameless plug reminder. If you'd like to join me and be a guest crafter on this channel, be sure to fill out the little survey form thing down in the description box. And if you'd like to help us decide what project to work on next week, check out the inspiration board, and again, fill out the survey down in the description box. The rules for winning, because I'm going to be giving away one of the projects that I make each week. The way to win is to, number 1, vote. Number 2, comment on that video, the one where you clicked from, meaning for next week, you need to comment on this vote. Comment the word voted on this video, and then go over to, okay, number 1, you need to vote. Number 2, you need to comment voted, and number 3, you need to show up for the live stream. And all of the people that do all 3 of and comment in the chat, so we know that you were actually here during the live stream, because that's going to basically help me know that you were here, and those are the folks that I'm going to be drawing a name from to win that project. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we made this week. I love how these turned out. Oh my goodness. They are definitely, I have kind of been getting into the little artsy thing. So I love it when they actually turn out good. You know, it's where you were afraid for so long to try some of these techniques because you're thinking, I won't do a good job of it. But I think these turned out pretty good. And I'm going to see if I can adjust the camera, because I think part of the reason these look a little bit more washed out on the video than they do with what I'm looking at here might have to do with that. So as long as I've got my hand in the screen, I can tell whether or not that's going to be the best way for me to tell for sure if the coloring is right. So let me just configure this a little bit and see. Brightness doesn't really help. Contrast does help some. And sharpness, but now I need to do a little bit more brightness, I think, because my hand is not that dark. I think that'll be, I guess that's good enough. So that is one of the cards. So Miss Elizabeth says she has a growing pile of resin products, wooden products, metal, paint, and jewelry. Yeah. Okay, so Tracy mentioned, okay, Jean said that she's got a lot of the 12 by 12, mainly Christmas. So I've got Christmas, I've got Halloween, then I've got a little bit of everything else. I've got a bookshelf. See, each of the shelves are probably about 3 feet wide. So I've got 2 wide of that and about 4 tall. And all of them are completely full. I think I've got at least 30 12 by 12 paper packs, at least. And I've tried, a couple of years ago, I tried to reorganize them by color. So I took all of the papers out of the packs that I had at that time and put them in those plastic, almost looking like magazine binders, and magazine holders rather, and I never use them. I can't find anything. It's like I don't really look by just color. It's like you look at the pattern, is it something you want to use? And it turns out, no, it's not. And then I've got, so I tried doing that, and I've also tried cutting them down to A2 size. I haven't done 6 by 6. I wind up doing them A2 size. Oh, bye, Carmen. You have a wonderful evening, honey, okay? I'll see you later, and be sure to say something over in the group and vote for next week's project. So I will have a new project to do. I will be updating this. This card is going to be removed from the inspiration board over on Pinterest, and I'm adding some new things in. I actually added a few new ones over the last couple of days too. So if you have a card or something that you see somewhere that you think would go good on our inspiration board, let me know and I'll get that added so that you guys can vote on it. I'm going to go ahead and let you go, though. I mean, I don't even recall now off the top of my head what it was I was talking about, but it's already 7 o'clock, so I've held you here for an hour and a half, even though I did start a few minutes late. I'm sorry, Miss TR. My husband was on a work call, and they got off after we were supposed to start. It's like, okay. Anyway, someone will be winning at least one of these lovely cards, and so you guys have a wonderful day, and just like this says, thank you so much. You do make everything colorful. You guys are awesome, and I absolutely love hanging out with you. So Eager Crafter is Dawn. Yes, you are so right. I've got, I think, 5 different sets of colored pencils that I never use, and I took them with me on my trip last week, just so I could try swatching them out and trying it out. I actually did my first couple of pages of just doodling, art journaling stuff with colored pencils last week, and I haven't done it in the last 3 days because I haven't had time, but it's a start. I have never done art journaling, but I'm going to try to teach myself how to use different things better and not feel that I need to make a project every single time. So anyway, you guys have a wonderful evening. Keep crafting, and remember, if I can do it, you can too. I mean, I'm no Kristina Werner. Hers looks much better than my cards, but these turned out pretty good, and I'm happy with them. You guys have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye for now.